the first thing that you should understand about me is that I'm not you. And then a whole lot should make sense after that.
Listen, I don't know who needs to hear this, but please stop explaining yourself to anyone. Friends, strangers, family members. You do not owe anyone an explanation of your decision making, whether that's with your finances, professional career, romantic relationships, religion. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. If you know deep down in your heart you are making the best decision for yourself, that makes you feel good, that makes you feel at peace and happy and joy. The person on the outside that doesn't get that, that's their problem, not yours.
Stop explaining yourself. If you constantly feel the need to justify why you do things differently, it's time to let that go. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you show up, create, or work. The right people will get it. The wrong people, they don't matter. Instead of seeking validation, focus on seeing your value. If your way of doing things doesn't fit the norm, good. That's your strength. Your difference is what sets you apart. Stop wasting time proving yourself to people who were never meant to see your magic. Lean into your uniqueness and watch how the right audience is drawn to you. When you stop over-explaining, you start owning your voice. And that's where real visibility begins.
Hey ladies, welcome back. I'm Tiffany Celeste and I am back with another video. I wanted to share these clips as a reminder to you that the phrase, "This is my choice," is a complete sentence, and you don't need to justify your decisions to people who think your life is their business. I love how in that first clip, the creator, I believe her name is Leah, I love how she says, "The one thing you need to know about me is that I am not you, and then the rest will make sense." That is going to be my motto for the rest of the year. So I wanted to discuss in this video why you don't owe anyone an explanation for your choices. Not your family, not your friends, not society, and definitely not strangers on the internet. Most of us were never taught about our autonomy as little girls. We weren't raised to believe that our thoughts, our feelings, our choices actually mattered. Instead, we were taught to be good, to be quiet, to ask for permission for everything. And now, as grown women, we're still seeking permission to live our own lives. But here's the thing. That conditioning was never meant to help us. It was meant to control us. The pressure to justify every choice you make isn't about respect or consideration. It's about control. And the sooner you stop explaining yourself, the freer you'll be. We've been conditioned since childhood to ask for permission for everything. Can I have this? Can I do that? Can I go here? And somewhere along the way, we've started believing that in our adulthood, that meant we needed other people's approval to live our own life, but we don't. "This is my choice" is a complete sentence, and it's not rude, it's not selfish. It's called being a grown woman. But here's where it gets tricky though, right? The moment you start living by your own rules, people get uncomfortable. They start expecting explanations. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself defending choices that you shouldn't have to defend in the first place. People feel entitled to know your why. Why don't you want kids? Why are you moving across the country? Why did you quit your job? Why are you getting a divorce? And here's what I want you to understand. 9 times out of 10, when people expect explanations for your choices, they're not asking because they actually care. Most of the time, they just want to be in your business, or maybe they're asking because your freedom makes them question their own choices. Your courage to live differently threatens their comfort zone, and they disguise their disdain of you leveling up as concern. They make you feel guilty for not including them in decisions that have nothing to do with them. And before you know it, you're explaining yourself to people who don't support you and who want to keep you small. And let's talk about the manipulation tactics that they use, okay? Because once you see them, you can't unsee them. First, there's the guilt trip. They may say something like, I just thought you would have told me first, or I'm hurt that you didn't ask for my opinion, or even family is supposed to stick together. They're making your decision a slight against them and their feelings, but don't fall for this emotional manipulation. Then there's the control trolling. I'm just worried about you. Are you sure you thought this through? What if you regret it? They're not worried. They're trying to plant doubt in your mind because your confidence makes them uncomfortable. And then there's the expertise angle. Well, I've been married for 20 years, so I think I know. I've been in your industry longer than you have. At your age, you should really consider. So listen, just because someone has experience doesn't mean that they have the right to dictate your choices. Their path isn't your path. Their life isn't your life. And their limitations definitely don't have to be your limitations. And here's what's really happening when you constantly explain yourself. You're training people to believe they have a say in your life. Every time you justify a decision, you're giving them permission to question the next one. You're teaching them that your choices are up for debate. And honestly, most people asking for explanations already have their minds made up about you and your life. They're not trying to understand. They're trying to change your mind. They want you to reconsider. They want you to doubt yourself. They want you to go back to being predictable and controllable. They want to keep you small. So here's what you do instead. You say, I have made my decision, period, full stop, no explanation needed. And as women, we are always asking ourselves, but what will people think? But you know what? Why should we care? People are going to think what they think regardless. You could give them a 10-page explanation and they'll still find something to criticize. And if you're thinking to yourself, but they'll be upset with me, let them be upset. Other people's emotions are not your responsibility. You're not here to manage their feelings about your life. You may even be saying to yourself, but I don't want to seem rude. But you know what's actually rude? People expecting explanations for your life choices that don't have anything to do with them. What's rude is them pressuring you to include them in your life decisions or making you feel guilty for wanting a better life. And just to be clear, I'm talking about not having to explain yourself regarding choices that add value to your life. And I'm not talking about bad choices that will harm you or land you in jail. A conversation may need to be had if you're doing something that will affect your life in a negative way. And it's okay to seek wise counsel where you see fit. But for the most part, stop giving people ammunition to use against you. Stop handing them reasons to argue with you. Stop opening up yourself to their judgment and criticism. And most importantly, use your discernment to identify who in your life is a monitoring spirit that just wants to have access and keep a watchful eye on you. Like I said in my video, 5 signs to detect monitoring spirits. They can show up as family, friends, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, coworker, or even a neighbor. So be careful who you share your life with, because as the saying goes, the call is coming from inside the house. And go watch my video about monitoring spirits next. I'll have it linked in the end screen and in the description box below. And remember, your life is not a democracy. Your choices are not up for a vote, and you don't need anyone's permission to live the way you want to live. And again, I'm not saying you should never seek advice or input from people you trust, but there's a difference between choosing to share your thought process and feeling obligated to justify every decision you make just so that people can feel included in your life choices. Choose your circle wisely. Share your journey with people who've earned the right to be a part of your decision-making process, but anyone else, they can get the announcement after you've already decided. And if you wake up tomorrow and decide, I'm moving to another city, I'm changing careers, I'm ending this relationship. I'm starting therapy. I'm taking a break from social media. No explanations, no apologies, no justifications are needed because you're a grown woman fully capable of making choices that's best for your life. The truth is, the right people will actively support your choices even if they don't fully understand them. And the wrong people will criticize your choices and will feel some kind of way for not being included in your choices. So save your energy, save your breath, save your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation for prioritizing your happiness. You don't owe anyone an explanation for living your life on your own terms. Your choices are yours to make. And if someone questions you about your life decisions, all you have to say is, "This is my choice." Full stop. Okay, ladies, this is the message of the day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.